Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for this presentation of the latest performance colors by Nora Kühner color card. It's the edition Terra Vague with the trend colors for winter 22-23. I hope you can hear me well. If there are any problems, feel free to use the Q&A function. My name is Lena Weimer. I am the Senior Marketing Manager of Performance Days Function Fabric Fair, and I'm very happy to welcome you today to this trend lecture by Nora Kühner. And before I introduce her, I would love to mention a few general things. I guess most of you have already ordered the e-magazine online. If not, simply go to the Performance Days Loop in cooperation with Function Fabric Fair. Create your personal login and order the color card. And I would recommend you to sign up for the newsletter too. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming on within the next weeks. And if you have any questions during this webinar, as already mentioned, you can use the Q&A function. And we have some designated time at the end of the webinar and try to cover all of your questions. If we cannot answer everything, you can reach out to Nora after this webinar directly. We will provide you with her contact details in the chat box later on. And at the end of this talk, there's the possibility to raise your hand. So this means we could unmute you and you can chat with Nora directly. And if you wish to, we could even show your video, absolutely up to you. And yeah, finally, would love to introduce Nora. She's a Munich-based freelance apparel designer, mainly working in the sports industry, and since 20 years she has been focusing on trend and color consultancy, conceptual design services, and brand building. And we're very proud that in 2016 together we have launched the Performance Colors color card as a common project presented twice a year. So Nora, thank you so much to having this trend lecture today with us, leading us through the e-magazine. I am very excited and would say the stage is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jelena. Great to have the chance to talk with all the audience. I'm happy to be here. And yeah, as Lena said, it's my pleasure to walk you through the e-magazine of our color forecast for winter 22-23. You know, the color kickoff was in December at Performance Days on December 9 in 2020. And then we elaborated, as usual, the e-magazine, a wider illustration and of the season, the bigger picture of the background, the ideas, the thoughts we shared in the international trend team for the season. And I think Terra Vague was a really very, very stimulating wording, as it's more what we all feel about with all the pandemic experiences and with all the uncertainty around us. And so this is really something which stimulated us a lot. And you may see also the subtitle Bittersweet Explorations, something I felt very close to when we were talking about the spirit of the season and what lies ahead and what do we have to tackle and all these things. So because it's not all sweet, of course, and at the moment I think a lot of us share this feeling also of bittersweet everyday life. So bittersweet explorations mean also that we want to raise awareness for that we have to change things, that we have to continue with transformation of our business, but also of our patterns we work and live today, which have proved to be not that good for the planet, to say it in a simple way. And I was sitting there working on this e-magazine during the whole time. And at the end, when it was really done, I thought, I have a feeling I really want to get in touch with people. I really wanted to present it, to walk you through the ideas, just to have at least a vivid way of communicating that we are ready, that we have an image of the season, the big picture. And I didn't want to wait until May for the next Performance Days show. So I said, I'll ask whether we could do such a talk. So I'm really happy that we could make it. And yeah, so we are here. And here you can see one of the pictures. We have all been living from pictures throughout the last year, the last 12 months, mainly on pictures because we couldn't go out, or we only could dream about having vacation out in nature, out there. And I think this is the first message I really want to forward you. And maybe you remember the claim of outdoor show, it's great out there. Yeah, it's great out there. And we are part of this out there. It's not that it is out there and we don't influence it and just can enjoy it. Our problem is that we love this out there. We love to be on vacation there. We love to live out there in this beautiful setting, in this beautiful picture, in this beautiful nature. And we really have experienced in a sometimes very painful way last year what it means not to be able to go out. But on the other hand side, we got really aware more than ever before, maybe in the last decades, that this out there helps us. It's useful. I would not say even useful. It's really important, most important for our mental and physical health being. And we have overused the planet. We really used it, and we overuse it every day, every second. And we have to change this. Always this out there, and we are part of it. We are in there. We are in this nature. We are part of this nature. And our being is really interwoven with this nature. So yeah, it's terrain vague where we have to go to. We have to shape new futures, new visions for the future. But what is future? Future is just not falling down from sky. It's us to shape it, us to influence it. And that's also the big topic for designers in the future, that we have to rethink the way in which we develop products and in which we bring, and what products we bring to the world. And so, yeah, let's enter the terrain vague of our future, but with trust and creativity, and most of all, with responsibility, a responsibility to really preserve with nature. For those of you who already know the performance colors by Nora Kühner, but also the others, once again, these are our seasonal core colors. Because we found out some years ago, we all know that there is so much stuff left over in our warehouses, in our production facilities. So it's not really makeable to change all colors every season. And we know that especially in sports, we reuse every season more or less a lot of colors because also this image of sports, we like active colors. So we said, okay, we will play on this. We set up, as usual, our 6 or 7 color stories, but then we define the core colors of each story, so that we can say, okay, we have all these most important colors for sports were classic sports, red, blue, maybe aqua, despite the problems with some with wash and light fastness things and all these topics. But we really just create new scenarios with around these core colors, and here you see our core colors for the season winter 22-23. Overall, above all, it's a very fresh and also colorful palette or range. The whole range is a very colorful one, as you might see here. But also on the other side is a very balanced palette of really very vivid colors, sometimes inspired also by screen, because it's really interesting, it has been interesting to see how we, the trend team who was working on it, how our exchange, our only virtual remote exchange, really influenced some of the colors. So we see a lot more already this influence of digital life, because seeing color only on the screen and not in a fabric really changes your perception and also your preferences sometimes. But on the other hand side, we know that digital life will be more and more important, or will cover a bigger part of our lives. So we said, okay, this is what it is, and we see what people ask for these colors. So why not only see it, why not seeing it also possible to shape digital clothing for people with these colors? So new way of working with colors. So you see we have 7 stories, and I will guide you now through the stories topic by topic. So our first story is Beyond Paradise. The colors, you see already the picture is like what we experience every day, but a world which is, yeah, it's slowly but surely disappearing this way. But it's connected to our being, to our memory, to what we as humans are. So it reflects our moods and wishes. And I think, as mentioned before, the last months, the last year has shown us, or has provoked more questions like, what does really matter in life? What is it really important to us? And so I do hope that we all have understood that we have to change in order to preserve this and to come and to see what is really necessary to do. Also we in our industry, where, as we all know and we are all aware of that, we are causing a lot of harm to our environment. So like this picture here, it's a very familiar, cozy color mood, a little bit refreshed by these accent colors. So as you see, the bigger circles are the core colors, a very moody coloring with a kind of warm glow due to the color number 3. And then this edgy aqua shade is this aqua spring green shade, a mixture of what we see in nature, both on land and water. And then this number 2, which underlines a little bit this yeah, kind of edgy touch. But on the other hand side, it's really just about the pleasure of being out, about playing with nature's inspiration, about playing with the patterns of nature and being inspired. And I think we all agree, or most of us will agree, that if we are in search of inspiration, nature is one of our biggest treasures and of our really most inspiring all-time source of yeah, new ideas, fresh ideas for combining colors, for combining patterns. And this is all in this story. So it's a reflection of what we have experienced last year. And so we think this is also a perfect story for outdoor sports, but I can also imagine well-being sports, gym, yoga, very nice way of doing color combinations. You see here this play with light and reflections, and also with warm golden glow again here, but you will see it later on in the story, in another story. This is also something which continues throughout the whole season, that we need this feeling of warmth and coziness, and then being curious about what comes up tomorrow, and we like to play around, and we, yeah, it's really a way of how, a reflection of a way how we live and experience our environment, the places we are, and the places we are connected to only by the imagination, memories, and wishes. So here, once again, nice play of patterns, graphic inspiration, performed by my colleague Marie Grospard from France, from Color Code. And you see what a really nice color shaping, color movement is in here, and also the graphics underline this. So it's really an enveloping and embracing and wrapping up. It's like a wrap, yeah, I would say. It's like a wrap, like a warm embrace of nature from both sides. Nature embraces us, and we embrace nature, and stands for this feeling of out there is in here, and we are part of this. So what we need, and what we all have been knowing for some seasons already, we have to leave our comfort zone. We have to transform. We have to transform our habits. We have to enter new worlds, new ideas, new visions. We have our story Xenotopia. It's a story about the unknown, exploring the unknown, trying to find new ideas and going forward with trust. And despite the whole thing might be a little bit mysterious. So we see a lot, we have already seen a lot of black and white, calming the whole excitement of in the last year. So this black and white story is very important to us, but we need some powerful dashes of color to bring this story to life, because we cannot live in this only dark mood. I think we also notice this in our daily life right now. Everybody is impatient and wants to come over like lockdown in the next minute. And so people are now eager for more color, for more action, for more, more normal life, as a lot of people call it, but it is not normal, and it will be not normal. It's really about, we have to rethink our habits, and question what we are doing and how we are doing it. We really need a transformation also of our personal habits, of our patterns of behavior. And so this is a story which wants to encourage critical thinking, new and interesting questions, exploring new realities. The spirit is, on one hand side, a little bit spooky, a little bit, a little bit, you're not sure what do you see, but on the other hand side, it's pretty clear. You can, there are, like you see here in the graphic scenarios, you see always something which you recognize. There's a particle you can catch, and there is another spirit. You see this, I can understand, you can follow. So it's about all this movement that we see at the moment also in society, and what we see in thinking and discussing. And we just have to take now really the chance to go forward and to do it in a better way. So the colors reflect this turmoil, a world in turmoil, and we see also with stark contrasts, really powerful dashes of color which break the black and white base of this story. And I think we all liked this story very much in the team, and think it's a really powerful story also for sports, also in winter. Imagine this story for snow sports, but also for other things. But it's also I think, a very fashionable way of doing sports. If you really think about new materials, which can provide excitement by their touch and feel. So it's something I really love the way we could work on this, and how inspiring it was also for us in the trend team. It was really interesting. So we have expressive graphics, we have a lot of light in that, because this is what we want to do. We want to bring light in our future, in our ideas. And I was just listening yesterday to a talk about future and designers and their role in designing or shaping, helping to shape future. So I think this is really something we also have to see in the brands or in the companies, to use this chance that we are a sector where we want to be innovative, where we want to think forward. But now we really have to do it. We really have to do it, not to and to come up with new ideas. And so it's really a question of experimentation, finding out new ways of working and manufacturing. And yeah, this is and nevertheless to create amazing stuff and come up with these new ideas underlined by such a powerful color scheme. A wonderful illustration of color combinations from my colleague Gabi Altrock. Very good interpretation, the reflection of going out, as we go out for expeditions, for doing sports, for adventures outdoors. This is really the same thing. We have to go forward to the future, because there is no one who will arrange the future for us. It's just us going out, going forward, thinking anew, and using our knowledge, our experiences for coming up with new and better scenarios and ways of doing things in our world. Yeah, so this is just a little bit an in-between reflection, because we were discussing a lot in the team about where to go to, and we had a lot of feelings and emotions here. Somewhere else, but where is this somewhere else? And what is about the future, navigating into the future? So a very beautiful picture arranged by my colleague from Italy, Carla Bodini-Belandi. I really love this spirit. It's also, it's mysterious. Nevertheless, it's all really, it reflects the splendor of nature and the attractiveness of this slightly mysterious, maybe dangerous out there, but nevertheless, it attracts us. Its pull is there. And so we have to go on to continue to locate our position in an ever-evolving world. And this can be done by triangulation. Maybe some of you have heard this wording before. So it's about by finding 3 points, forming a triangle. You can see where you are. So if you stand out there in nature, of course not by night, but if you stand somewhere, you can find, if you have 3 points which you really can see in your surroundings, and you can connect them and find a triangle, you can position yourself. So I think this is very fitting for the spirit we need now. And this story, you see this picture, and we all felt that it's also time, maybe it's also a tribute to what we experienced last year, that we see more of this transseasonal spirit. So that we cannot say any longer, okay, it's winter, it's summer, And of course, on a global basis, as we are a forecast who wants to also address people from other parts of the world, not only Europe or Middle Europe even. So we are global color forecast. This is something we see, but this trans-seasonal feeling is also spreading in a world which was used, at least here in Europe, at Middle Europe, there's winter, there's summer, but this is now more fluent. It's we have it's yeah, we don't see also from a spirit, because we escape in winter to warm countries, so it's not this exact separation of seasons any longer. And therefore we felt very well with this story, which is in color-wise speaking mainly about watery shades of blue and aqua, and then warmed up by sunset red and shades of this, really also this very powerful pink and purple, and a little bit of deep sea navy grounds. This whole thing gives shape to it, lines out and underlines this fluid spirit of the whole story. It's all in the flow, and things are sometimes like before in the Beyond Paradise story. It's a little bit about the haziness of future and what we can see and what we don't know. So nevertheless, the story feels very familiar and is very natural, not so much a story of artificial lightning, but it's really about being out there in nature. And this was once again also a next thing we experienced throughout the 2 seasons that we have now been exchanging on colors from with the pandemic as a backdrop for us, that this desire for nature, for natural experiences, for the pleasure of nature has really been growing in all of us. It's really, yeah. And one thing which was really astonishing, I did a masterclass. Some of you might know my project masterclass. This year I did a digital version only, of course. And the most interesting thing was really that the 18 students, usually we have a lot of digital addings to a concept idea for products, for new clothing, for new backpacks or things like this. Always the students in the years before always developed something, an app, the website, the thing. This year, nothing digital in any of the presentations. It was all about nature, about living, getting together, community, protection, of course, a big topic, but no app, no website design, no new thinking about what sensors and things like this. So this was really interesting to see that the young guys share now the same feeling as the elder generations may be, that they would love to have more nature in their life. And I think this leads really directly to a question we have to discuss as a society, a global society. What does it mean to be a human being in the 21st century, and where do we want to go to? So you see here the light tower. And yeah, we have to set out to remeasure the world and to think about us in this world and how we want this world to look like. So you see here the wonderful, really color mood. I really love this story very much. It's on one hand side a very clean and perfect story in a way, but on the other hand side, with very warm accents, with very calming feeling, and on the other hand side, yeah, it's a little bit energizing, like being or smelling the sea and the water out there. So it's, I think, a perfect reflection also of what we wish at the moment and what we will wish in the season 22-23 for sure, still, we will still want to go out and to experience and to live there. So this is what we see as a story. We see this pattern making, these graphic patterns, which are inspired by mesh and structures, mesh-like structures, by precise graphics, but also by hand-drawn lines which underline, which point out some things, which give contours, and so to shape, to make an image sharper. And then again, it's also a story of finding one's position and being and sharing, I would say, a spirit, this calming spirit with a lot of energy, nevertheless found in this story, triangulation. And as said, yeah, we have to discuss what it means to be human in the 21st century. So the story Still Physical is really about this. Because after all, and at the end of the day, to use some of the stereotypes, we are still human beings. We have still the analog body. We live in analog world. Our environment is mainly physical, touchable, feelable. So yes, and this is a celebration of what the physical world is like, with all these patterns, these things, of course, man-made things also, but it's also nature and this interwoven status of our environments and how we live to that and where we go to and the pleasures of being out together. So it's a reflection of this, what we have learned, I think, last year again, that we like to be together, that though we sometimes cannot agree with other people, but on the other hand side, all on our own, it's not the way we humans can exist. We need the others. And so it's also time to question some of the technological advances, or not always say, okay, it's technology, therefore it's progress and it's a new technology. We also have to question this thinking of whether do we have to bring up always new stuff? Isn't it enough sometimes only to give, only is just with air science, is it not enough to do better things and do it in a better way? Of course, it means we have to think about new stories and about new branding for our ideas, for our collection, for our products. But this is what it will be all about. And this is the most exciting thing we have to do. That we have to think anew, that we have to drive the imagination of our customers also, and to take them on board, and because I think the experiences of last year are really in a way that at the moment it's about being human and being able to do the simple things, sending your kids to school and going out with them to the playground and things like this, all these simple things. And therefore, this is a celebration. Also, the colors are celebrating with skin tones, with warm tones, with fiery red, with dark burgundy. All this is a celebration of human energy, of the feeling of being together, And just one accent is this dark green, which stands as a stakeholder for nature. But this is all about this warm and cozy feeling of bodies, of a sense of bodiness, I would say, that we are analog, that we are physical beings. And so you see here always inspiration of the color mood. It's really a very moody story, but with a lot of positive vibes. And all again here you see, as mentioned before, this golden glow, this warm glow. We need warmth. We want warmth. Not only because it's winter, but just we need this warm glow and warmth of being together as a community, as society. and also to appreciate what we see out there in nature and getting inspired by the forms and patterns of nature and finding beauty on your way, strolling around and seeing what is going on outside, and to really appreciate the simple things like you can see here. These are just findings. And I think, for example, if you look to Instagram right now, you see that a lot of people are really lost without whatever, travels, parties, whatever. And but on the other hand side, we look anew with a fresh point of view to the things which surround us, to the simple things we didn't used to see before, but maybe now we rediscover them. And maybe it's also the chance to recognize and appreciate what we have more and to preserve it. So a very inspiring story too. And yeah, and as you can see, also our waste belongs to the world around us. And I wish it would be that easy that you just color it in a beautiful, so then it looks really super attractive. Nevertheless, this is a topic we have to tackle, we all know, and we have to get rid of it. Yeah, anamorphosis. Anamorphosis means I don't want to explain it in a very complicated way. More or less, it's a form or picture only recognizable from a certain viewpoint, from a certain angle, or with the help of a mirror. It was mainly done in the paintings of in the 17th century. Yeah, there were some guys really specializing in some painters. For us, it's just this connected to the whole spirit of our terrain vague. Terrain vague is, yeah, it's vague. We don't see any borders, we don't see any shapes, maybe. We just don't know where this will lead to. But from a certain angle, from a certain viewpoint, with changed perspectives, we can recognize. And then we can act and we can shape. So this is really about this, forming new things, forming new structures, systems, and just starting. And as a color story, it works with a lot of reflections, with fragmentation, with overlapping colors. So here is the range, a very clear story, mainly based on this little bit dirty pale yellow and the blue, and then again this kind of spring green, but with a very aquatic touch. So it's really about this feeling of playing with light and shadow, and oscillating, creating patterns with some strangeness. It's on the one hand side, again, this reflection of being uncertain or not certain what to do, not sure what to do, but on the other hand side, very precise, our very precise environments, the architecture with lots of glass and steel and geometry. And on the other hand side, the desire to have more organic forms, more rounded forms, because this looks, sometimes our built environments look in a way very, not so attractive. And we need, as human beings, we need a certain coziness and a feeling of familiarity. And so here you see again another completely different arrangement of the colors, which is more about these rounded forms, as I said, this natural influence and display of light and shadow. And so this is for us a very interesting story in ways for a very clean and technical way of doing sports clothing. As I mentioned before, protection, of course, is the thing that at the moment everybody is asking for. We need shelter, we want shelter. But on the other hand side, I think we cannot do or transform all our collection into everyday armors. So we really have to bring in also a colorful spirit and to also pay attention to the use of color, in a really in a way that people attracts and take, and they feel that this feeling comes over or is coming with the clothing, that you feel well in this color is really sometimes underestimated in its influence. And I think this is something we have also experienced during the last year, that we need color as a way for our being in a better mood and to raise our emotions. So here comes dynamic beauty, once again, a more transseasonal way, the dynamic of water, of nature, the beauty of freedom. For sure, we will see when after the worst months of the pandemic may be over within the next year, half year or until the end of the year, we will see that people want pleasure, we want freedom, and we don't want to think about anything besides pleasure and freedom, and the freedom to go where we want to and just to do what we want. So this is a reflection of this desire, which is completely understandable. So it's dynamic and breezy, and the color selection really reflects this spirit. It's a sunny day outdoors, maybe close to a water or in an area where it's really where we have perfect balance of gentle warmth, invigorating chill. And it's a very dynamic story also from the patterns. It's all about moving, about movements. You see a lot of stripes in this story. And again, this reflection and this moving organic spirit. Also this hand-drawn, there's a hand-drawn spirit, because it's just something like just for the moment, doing spontaneously things you want to do, going out, having free, just to enjoy life in its full splendor. So here also again, a very nice color story, color combinations by my colleague Cornelia Sievers. And you see here also this melting together of things done completely by the computer and shifted in form and shape and coloring. And on the other hand side, really the rough nature, always. This is the situation we are living in. This is our reality, whether it's digital or real, analog, physical. It's just our reality, and it's us to shape and to use it in a way that we can do better for the planet. And this is what our final story for this season is about, the blazing balance. Because more is not possible. We will always live within the next years, the next decade maybe, in a kind of blazing balance, or what we can achieve. It's this balance in between we have to find to live with more disasters which might happen due to climate change. Now we have experienced the pandemic. We don't know on the long run how we will be able to tame this virus. So, and yeah, it's a We want balance, we need it for our health, but on the other hand, we cannot expect it for the next years to come. It will be a struggle for getting balance, and so our story here is a very well balanced story, natural colors, again here with calming mood, with balanced mood, with just some edgy color dashes of fiery red, and with smooth spring green here again. But this is the reflection, what we need to accept this, that we have a, it's us, we brought all this trouble to the world, or we caused a lot of the trouble we will experience. And now we have to dare to change it. And so it's really up to us, to our fantasy, to our creativity, to our technological advances, to our, but there's a lot of technology there, and we just have to use it in the right way, and even to rethink some of the ways we use it. And so our future is in between fantasy and the new real. And I think it's a big task we have to tackle, and we will see how the next seasons will develop. But one thing is sure: we won't return to what we used to have 1.5 years ago. And so it's really about getting in a dialogue, like my colleague from Italy, Mirella Beccucci, points out here. It's a dialogue. It's a dialogue in between communities, a dialogue in between nature and us humans. It's a dialogue in between politics, economy. It's a dialogue with us as society. We have to think about how we can do better all together. And also here, this picture from Mirella is very beautiful. We have to manage with finding a balance in between pragmatism and utopia. We have to try utopia and to think about utopia and to work on utopia. And of course, on the one side, we are just living right now, we are living here, but we have to be responsible for what we do today by thinking also of tomorrow, and not just forgetting what might bring the next day. So above all, this wonderful message, this wording I loved from the beginning. Oh yes, it was not that picture, but one colleague, Felicia from Italy, Felicia Taricone, brought this up or introduced her ideas for the season with the word, oh yes, but. Yeah, and I think this is it. Nevertheless, oh yes, yes, we want to continue. Oh yes, we can. We really can shape, we can transform our industry. We can do better. We are rooted in nature with sports, and sports needs nature, and we need a nature which is nice, which is beautiful, which allows us to enjoy it. We don't want to swim in the plastic garbage patch. We don't want to take hiking tours in burned down forests. So yes, oh yes, let's do it. Let's all work on it. And oh yes, it's time for optimism and hope and responsibility. So this is the part of so this oh yes part is the final picture of our graphic stories and spirits about the season. And just one thing which I point out, because sometimes I hear from people, oh, they don't know that you offer this service in your forecast. So here explicitly something we do in collaboration with DyeStar, that we can give you an estimation on the light and wash fastnesses of our colors. All colors are here with the estimation on whether problems might occur or not. And as said before, this year we have some colors with problems, but I would say these are digital colors. Also, we are also open for companies who want to develop digital clothing, and therefore our trend forecast also covers colors which might not be quite usable in the for cotton, polyamide, or maybe polyester. So this is a reflection of what our lives look today, and this is what our work as forecasters has to show. And one other thing you have also here, you have also, first of all, you have a number of dye star for our color, for every color we show you, we have selected. Then we give you via chroma code, we give you the color code and the Pantone code. So you have all 35 colors specified by these for specification schemes, and you have the light and washing fastnesses. So, and this is the team for this season. And Felicia Taricone mentioned Carla Bodini Belandi, Marie Cospar, color code, then Mirella Beccucci, Pierre Callegarini, and Cornelia Sievers, and Gabi Altrock. Thanks a lot to my colleagues. I know it's hard to talk about color without fabrics in hand or getting together in a physical form, but I think we have managed this very well. So thanks to them. And now I stop sharing my screen. Thanks for listening. I'm happy to be here and to have a chance to talk to you. So I'm now ready to get your questions. Please feel free to ask whatever you want.
Thank you, Nora. It was so interesting, always so inspiring to listen to you. And indeed, there are the first questions. So, for example, how is sustainability changing the color choice in the performance world? Not so much in choosing green, but in the manufacturing, are there more ecological colors due to dye?
Of course, the industry is working hard on finding new ways of doing color, either with new recipes for setting up colors, for building colors. So there is a lot of things going on. I don't want to advertise now for any special companies. I think this would be is not the right place, my forecast. But there's a lot of things going on, and what I always really want to underline is not so much the wash and light fastness problem or things like this. It's really that we have to work more on the material, because it's I just, as mentioned, I had my masterclass with some students and some great students, and we had one student who is working with algae and other living organisms to prepare to get fabrics. And we were talking a lot about how to color these new fabrics, and I think this is what we also have to prepare that we will see rather soon new fabrics coming up, new ways of working with fabrics, and we have to see what color can do, how it can be used. We need more experimentation, and the designers and product development departments have to have the time to develop together. Like this designer who came to my masterclass with her ideas. She's just studying, for example, at a certain school, because there's no other place where she could find this. But a lot of students, I also have another student who also was in search of finding the right school for him. So what will happen? We will have pretty soon new materials, really completely new materials, which will also change our ways of manufacturing and how to handle them. And I think this is what we have to also focus on, because you also have to think about the topic of, for example, water shortage. If we continue in the way we do, for sure, water is today already a scarce resource, and it will become more and more important. And I'm sure that we in textile, with all our masses of clothing, with our overproduction, won't be the ones which will get enough water. If it's one, it will be restricted how much water you may use. We are not the ones who will get the most of the water. And therefore also color is a topic we have to be prepared that we might be not able to produce all the colors we may be able to, but maybe we have to restrict ourselves. There's a company who does earth colors, and they have only about 100 shades at the moment. And they came to me, Nora, how can we communicate that there are no more shades possible? Because nobody will understand that. But this is a topic which we maybe can talk in another event, or maybe in May. This is super important and a very good question. Thanks for bringing this up.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question, what material will substitute polyester in the world of performance, and is the color selection unlimited?
First of all, unlimited. It's like everlasting growth. Unlimited, we always should be aware that there are limits. This is something I'm talking about for more than 10 years at performance days, mainly in Micro Vardis presentations. We have to accept that not all can be done. Maybe because it's damaging nature, maybe it's because people cannot wear it on their skin. Unlimited, I would like to eliminate this. And then, of course, polyester. Yeah, the problem is not that there is something which can replace polyester. There are possibilities to do things different. The problem is that it's just too cheap. If polyester, virgin polyester would be more expensive, because all data at the moment until 2030, this curve is still really in a 45-degree angle, growing. And so I cannot really believe that we all in the sports sector do our best to replace this. Maybe that it is recycled polyester. It's just the topic, don't use any any virgin polyester from this point, from this minute onward. Then we can start to tackle the problem. So this is the only way.
Yeah, thanks for this point of view, Nora. So we're running late now anyways, but there's still so many participants in this talk. If you want to chat to Nora now directly, just raise your hand. I think we can manage a few more minutes, but so far, I see everybody is kind of shy, or you just gave us so detailed information that there are no open questions. Nora, there are coming so much compliments within the Q&A.
Thanks.
Excellent presentation. So thanks to you. As already mentioned and written in the chat, if there are some questions afterwards, just email Nora. I'm sure you're happy to answer everything which is coming.
Okay, so first of all, thanks for being so that so many people had time for this short-term event, for this talk. Was really happy to have the chance, and thanks to Performance Days, to Lena for arranging is really in just 1 week, more or less. And yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you. And don't shy away from addressing me directly, getting in touch with me via email or phone call or whatever. I think we will still have to wait for physical possibilities or some time, but yeah, I would be more than happy to be in touch.
Wonderful. It was a pleasure to have you, Nora. As said, just check out the performances loop. Everything is online, the e-magazine. Nora is happy to hearing from you. And I'm sure we will all meet soon again. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye. See you soon.
See you soon, hopefully.